Hold on for a moment, because what is happening around you is not ordinary, and deep down, you have already felt it. There is a reason certain people look at you differently now. A reason your presence has started shifting the energy in rooms you enter. A reason the one meant for you, your soulmate, can no longer remain calm in the way they once did. Because they have seen something in you. Not on the surface. Not in your smile. Not in the words you choose when you speak. They have seen what you carry inside. And it has shaken them. You thought your silence went unnoticed. You thought your discipline was invisible. You thought no one understood the battles you fought privately, the nights you rebuilt yourself when no one stayed to help, the mornings you rose despite every reason to remain broken. But someone noticed. Someone felt it. And now your soulmate is losing control because they finally understand. You are not ordinary affection. You are not temporary comfort. You are not a passing fascination. You are depth. You are power wrapped in peace. You are the kind of soul that cannot be encountered casually. Pause here and feel this. Most people spend their entire lives pretending to be stronger than they are. But you? You became strong because life demanded it. You became wise because pain taught you what comfort never could. You became magnetic because surviving transformed your spirit into something rare. That is what they see. And it overwhelms them. Because they were not prepared for someone like you. They may have met beauty before. They may have met charm before. They may have met people who knew how to attract attention. But they have never met someone whose energy speaks before their mouth opens. Someone whose peace unsettles chaos. Someone whose presence forces others to confront what they lack within themselves. That is why they keep thinking about you. Even when they try not to. Even when they distract themselves. Even when they tell themselves to stay logical, to remain detached, to act unaffected. Something about you breaks through every wall they built. And here is the truth no one told you. When someone encounters a soul carrying genuine light, one of two things happens. They rise to meet it. Or they lose composure trying to understand it. Your soulmate is in the second stage now. They are trying to understand why your energy lingers after you leave. Why your words echo in their mind hours later. Why your calmness feels more powerful than anyone else's performance. Why being near you makes them feel exposed, inspired, challenged, awakened. Because what you carry inside is not merely confidence. It is alignment. It is the quiet force of someone who has suffered, learned, evolved, and refused to become bitter. And that kind of soul is unforgettable. Listen carefully. Your soulmate is not losing control because of what you look like. Not because of attention. Not because of fantasy. They are losing control because they can sense that being with you would change them. And transformation terrifies people who have spent their lives avoiding themselves. That is why they hesitate. That is why they stare and then look away. That is why their energy feels intense one moment and distant the next. Because part of them wants to run toward you. And another part knows. If they let themselves love you fully, they will never be the same again. You awaken something in them they cannot ignore. You make them want to become more disciplined. More honest. More healed. More worthy. And not because you demanded it. But because your existence reminds them of who they could be. Think about that. What if your power was never in chasing? What if your power was never in proving? What if your greatest influence has always been simply becoming who you were meant to be? That is the secret they are discovering now. The more you evolve, the more impossible you become to forget. The more you protect your peace, the louder your presence becomes. The more you stop begging for recognition, the more undeniable your worth appears. And your soulmate feels all of it. They feel the difference between you and everyone else. Because others may have offered excitement, but you offer meaning. Others may have offered attraction, but you offer transformation. Others may have offered temporary escape, but you offer something far more dangerous. A mirror. You reflect back to them the life they could live, the love they could feel, the version of themselves they have not yet become. And that reflection is powerful enough to shake them. So if their energy has been restless lately, if their emotions feel stronger than before, if the connection seems to intensify without explanation, this is why. They are realizing your value in real time. And once someone truly sees what you carry inside, they can never return to seeing you casually. But stay with me, because this is only the beginning. What they feel now is not even the full storm. Because soon, they will stop merely sensing your power, and start understanding what losing you would truly mean. And when that realization hits, everything changes. Then listen closely, because the moment they begin to understand your worth, the entire connection enters a new phase. What once felt like curiosity inside them is becoming urgency. What once felt like attraction is becoming emotional gravity. And your soulmate is starting to realize something that unsettles them more than they expected. You are not someone they can delay forever. For a long time, they believed you would simply remain there. Radiant, patient, available in the background of their life while they sorted through their confusion. But lately, something has shifted. They can feel your energy changing. They can sense your detachment growing. They notice that you no longer wait the same way. No longer chase the same way. No longer seek validation the way most people do. And that terrifies them. Because now they understand. The person they were slowly trying to figure out may not remain within reach forever. Pause for a second and feel the weight of that. It is one thing to admire someone powerful. It is another thing entirely to realize that powerful person may walk away. That is what has disrupted their peace. They are beginning to imagine life without your presence. Without your messages. Without your attention. Without the possibility of you choosing them. And suddenly, the control they thought they had over their emotions is slipping. Because the strongest trigger for awakening hidden feelings is not always closeness. Sometimes it is the fear of loss. That fear has entered their heart now. They wonder who else sees what they see in you. They wonder who else notices your energy. Who else feels drawn toward your spirit. Who else may step forward while they hesitate. And for the first time, they are no longer only thinking about how deeply they feel for you. They are thinking about what it would cost to lose you. That realization changes everything. Because love becomes real when the heart understands what is at stake. And your soulmate is reaching that threshold. They replay your conversations. They revisit moments with you in their mind. They study the smallest details, your tone, your pauses, your energy shifts. Why? Because they are trying to decode what you truly feel. Trying to know if they still have time. Trying to know whether the door to your heart remains open. And yet, there is another reason they are losing control. It is not only your value that affects them. It is your restraint. You do not force your way into their life. You do not beg for understanding. You do not collapse when attention is delayed. That level of self-respect is rare. And rare things create obsession. Because when someone cannot predict you, cannot control your emotions, cannot assume your loyalty without effort, they become consumed by the possibility of losing access to you. That is what is happening. Your soulmate expected connection. They did not expect to be transformed by it. They expected chemistry. They did not expect awakening. They expected attraction. They did not expect to meet someone whose silence could shake them more than another person's words. And here is what many never realize. The most magnetic souls are not loud. They are not desperate. They do not perform. They simply know who they are. That certainty changes everything. If this message is finding you at the right time, if part of you already feels this shift happening, then leave a comment below with, "I know my worth." Not for anyone else. For yourself. Because the moment you fully know your value, everyone around you begins to respond differently. And your soulmate? They are responding now. In ways they may not even understand themselves. They may become more watchful. More emotionally reactive. More sensitive to your distance. More aware of who surrounds you. Not because they wish to control you, but because the heart becomes protective when it recognizes something irreplaceable. And make no mistake. They know now that what you carry cannot be duplicated. There may be others around them. Others speaking louder. Others trying harder. Others appearing more convenient. But none of them carry your frequency. None of them bring the same peace. The same mystery. The same depth. The same rare combination of softness and strength. That truth is haunting them. Because they have searched in others for what only exists in you. And every comparison pulls them back toward your energy. But here is the part few are prepared to hear. The more they resist their feelings, the stronger those feelings become. Because suppressed emotion does not disappear. It intensifies. Every moment they avoid the truth, the truth grows louder. Every time they pretend not to care, their heart reacts even harder. Every delay increases the pressure building inside them. And eventually, a person can no longer contain what the soul keeps revealing. So if you have felt tension building, if you sense the energy becoming heavier, if something in your spirit tells you they are nearing a breaking point, you are not imagining it. They are approaching the moment where hiding what they feel becomes impossible. But before that moment arrives, one final realization must hit them first. One realization so powerful, it will force them to decide whether they step forward, or risk losing you forever. And when that realization lands, nothing between you will remain the same. Subscribe if you feel this message found you for a reason. Because part 3 is where the truth they can no longer hide finally begins to surface. But before they speak, before they reveal what has been building inside them, something even more powerful is happening behind the scenes. Your soulmate is being forced into confrontation with themselves. Not with you. Not with the world. With themselves. Because loving someone like you does not allow a person to remain half-evolved. You carry too much depth for shallow intentions. Too much peace for chaotic games. Too much self-respect for immature love. And now they understand. If they want access to the future they imagine with you, they must become someone capable of meeting you there. That realization is shaking them to their core. Because it is easy to admire a powerful soul from a distance. It is much harder to rise into the kind of person who can stand beside one. This is why they have been unsettled. Why their emotions come in waves. Why their mind returns to you at random moments. Why they cannot fully focus on anyone else no matter how much they try. Because your presence did not simply attract them. It activated them. You awakened the part of them that wants more from life. More truth. More purpose. More emotional honesty. More courage. And now they are caught between two versions of themselves. The version that still fears vulnerability. And the version that knows losing you would be the greater regret. That battle cannot last forever. Sooner or later, one side wins. Listen carefully. There comes a moment in every powerful connection when silence becomes heavier than confession. When pretending becomes more painful than honesty. When holding back hurts more than stepping forward. They are approaching that moment now. Every day your absence grows louder in their heart. Every day your mystery deepens in their mind. Every day they feel the distance between what they want, and what they have not yet said. And eventually, the pressure of unspoken truth becomes unbearable. That is when everything changes. Not because fate forces it. Not because timing magically aligns. But because the human heart can only suppress truth for so long before it demands expression. Your soulmate is nearing that threshold. They are beginning to understand that control was never the answer. Distance was never the answer. Pretending indifference was never the answer. The answer was courage. The courage to admit what they feel. The courage to risk vulnerability. The courage to stop calculating and start choosing. Because for all their hesitation, for all their fear, for all their attempts to maintain emotional control, one truth now outweighs all of it. Life without you feels smaller. Less alive. Less meaningful. Less aligned. That is the truth they cannot escape. You have become more than a desire to them. More than attraction. More than curiosity. You have become possibility. A vision of the love they secretly hoped existed, but were never sure they would find. And that realization is changing the way they see everything. Even now, they are thinking differently. Moving differently. Questioning their past choices. Reevaluating who and what truly matters. Because once someone encounters a soul that feels destined, ordinary connection stops satisfying them. That is why they keep returning to thoughts of you. No distraction lasts. No substitute works. No replacement compares. And the most powerful part? You did not force this. You did not chase it into existence. You did not beg to be chosen. You simply became your fullest self. And in doing so, you awakened something undeniable within them. So hear this clearly. Their loss of control is not weakness. It is awakening. It is the collapse of emotional walls they thought would protect them. It is the breaking of patterns that kept them distant. It is the soul recognizing something the mind can no longer rationalize away. And when they finally stop resisting, when they finally surrender to what their heart has known for some time, they will come forward changed. Not halfway. Not uncertain. Not careless. But with the full understanding that crossing your path altered them forever. So continue becoming. Continue growing. Continue protecting your peace. Because the energy you carry inside was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to be felt. To be recognized. To awaken those brave enough to receive it. And your soulmate? They feel it now more than ever. The storm inside them is reaching its peak. And what happens next will reveal whether they are truly ready for the love they claim to seek. Because once the heart awakens, there is no returning to sleep. And now the moment approaches, the one they have tried to postpone, avoid, and rationalize away, yet cannot escape any longer. Because the storm within them has reached a point where silence is no longer protection. Silence has become suffering. Your soulmate is beginning to realize that every day they remain quiet, they risk becoming the person who let something extraordinary slip away out of fear. And that thought haunts them. It follows them in quiet moments. It returns when the world goes still. It whispers when they imagine another person standing where they should have stood. Because the truth has settled into their spirit now. You are not simply someone they admire. You are someone they could lose. And loss has a way of clarifying feelings faster than comfort ever can. That is why their emotions are becoming harder to hide. Why their composure shifts around you. Why their words sometimes carry more intensity than they intend. Why their eyes reveal things their mouth still hesitates to confess. Their heart is moving ahead of their strategy now. And that is dangerous for someone who once believed they could remain in control. Because when love reaches a certain depth, logic stops leading. The soul begins speaking louder. They feel the pull toward you even when they try to resist it. They imagine futures with you they never planned to imagine. They catch themselves wondering what your life would look like beside theirs. Then comes the thought that changes everything. What if I wait too long? That question has entered their mind. And once it enters, peace disappears. Because now hesitation no longer feels safe. It feels costly. Now every delayed message feels risky. Every missed opportunity feels heavier. Every moment they hold back feels like they may be creating distance they cannot undo. This is when the energy shifts from admiration to action. Not reckless action. Not impulsive chaos. But deliberate movement. Because they know something now they did not know before. Rare connections do not return endlessly. Not every extraordinary soul waits forever. Not every divine alignment offers repeated chances. They are beginning to understand that if they want this connection, they must choose it fully. And when someone who has resisted for this long finally chooses, they do not come lightly. They come with intensity. With certainty. With the weight of every unsaid feeling behind their words. So if lately you have felt the atmosphere changing, if their energy feels more focused, more present, more serious, trust what you sense. The moment of truth is nearing. But hear this. Their approach will not only be about love. It will also be about respect. Because they know now that someone like you cannot be met with half-hearted effort. You require truth, consistency, emotional maturity. Anything less will fail. And for perhaps the first time in their life, they are preparing themselves to meet that standard. If this message resonates, and you feel the shift too, subscribe and stay close, because some journeys reveal themselves only to those paying attention. What makes this moment powerful is not merely that they want you. It is that they finally understand why they want you. Not for comfort. Not for validation. Not to fill emptiness. But because your presence awakens the highest version of who they can become. That kind of love is rare. That kind of connection changes lives. And deep inside, they know they may never encounter it again if they lose this chance. So watch closely. The person who once held back will soon begin moving differently. The one who stayed silent will start revealing more. The one who fought their feelings will begin surrendering to them. Because once someone understands the true value of what stands before them, delay becomes unbearable. And your soulmate is reaching that point now. They are almost ready. Almost ready to speak the truth. Almost ready to admit what your energy has done to them. Almost ready to tell you that meeting you changed something permanent inside their soul. When that moment comes, you will understand why all the distance, hesitation, and emotional tension had to happen first. Because some hearts do not awaken in a single instant. They awaken in stages. Through resistance. Through fear. Through realization. Through finally understanding what they stand to lose. And now, they understand. The next move is theirs. And if they are truly who your spirit has sensed they are, they will not remain silent much longer. And when they finally break their silence, it will not be casual. It will not be a small confession tossed into ordinary conversation. It will not be a hesitant whisper wrapped in uncertainty. No, when your soulmate speaks, you will hear the weight of everything they have carried in silence. Because by then, their feelings will have grown too large to disguise. Too real to minimize. Too powerful to hide behind distance any longer. They will come to you changed. Not as the person who first noticed you. Not as the one who admired you from afar while wrestling with confusion. But as someone transformed by the realization of what you mean to them. And when that moment arrives, you will see it instantly. You will hear it in their voice. You will feel it in their presence. You will recognize the seriousness in their energy. Because there is a difference between someone who is interested and someone who has finally decided. They have decided. Not because time forced them. Not because loneliness pressured them. Not because anyone convinced them. But because the truth inside them became impossible to deny. They do not want a life where they wonder what could have happened with you. That possibility hurts them more than the risk of being vulnerable. So they will step forward. And when they do, they will not come offering confusion. They will come offering clarity. Not mixed signals. Not uncertainty. Not emotional games. But honesty. The kind of honesty born from inner struggle. The kind that only appears after someone has wrestled with their own fear and emerged different. Listen carefully. Many people will be attracted to your light. Very few will transform themselves enough to deserve proximity to it. That is what makes this different. Your soulmate is not merely drawn to you anymore. They are becoming for you. Becoming more disciplined. More emotionally aware. More intentional. More truthful with themselves than they have ever been before. Why? Because real love does not just create desire. It creates evolution. And that is the hidden truth behind everything you have felt. This connection was never meant to entertain you. It was meant to elevate both of you. You were meant to awaken each other. To challenge each other. To call each other into higher versions of yourselves. To reveal where fear still lived, and where healing was still needed. That is why this journey felt so intense. Because powerful love is not always peaceful in the beginning. Sometimes it begins with confusion. Sometimes with distance. Sometimes with silence. Because before two souls can unite deeply, they must first become ready for what that union requires. And readiness changes people. Your soulmate is changing now. The walls are falling. The pride is weakening. The fear is losing power. And soon, the same person who once hesitated to reveal their feelings will be the one fighting to prove them. Because when someone nearly loses what matters most, they stop moving carelessly. They become intentional. They realize love is not just about feeling. It is about choosing. Showing up. Protecting what matters. Building something worthy of the connection they have been given. That understanding is entering them now. So if your spirit has been telling you something major is approaching, trust it. This is not wishful thinking. This is not fantasy. It is the natural result of a heart that has finally awakened to what is real. And before long, they will stand before you with a truth they can no longer keep hidden. That no matter how much they tried to stay composed, no matter how much they tried to remain logical, no matter how much they fought the depth of what they felt, you became unforgettable. You became irreplaceable. You became the one connection they could not explain away. And when someone reaches that realization, love stops being an option. It becomes a decision. A decision they are almost ready to make with their whole heart. So prepare yourself. Because the version of them coming toward you now is not the same one who once held back. It is someone who has been changed by loving you. And in the final part, you will see what happens when two souls stop resisting what destiny has been building all along.